Hi, I'm Bobsto, the Elder Weeb.
And I'm Red, the bald-headed wonder.
We are the late boys.
Yeah, really,
The late,
really late
really
anime
late
boys.
boys.
But you know what? You know
But it was
what?
better later than never. I always say.
You know what?
What? What?
Here we go.
Hell yeah.
It's
Sorry
beer
for
time.
the absence. Red had somewhat of a personal family tragedy he had to attend to, and then we just ended up after that we ended up just getting busy for the rest of the holiday season.
So we
So
do apologize for
we
the gap, but
Yeah, there's quite a
we,
gap, but for those who stuck around, hey, thank you for sticking around.
yeah, and we're
Um,
back, baby, and
we're
we've
back.
got we've got some things going on, and
Yeah,
we've been brainstorming
we
and
have.
really been putting some stuff together, and we got some really cool shit coming in the future for you
hmm
guys. So,
But, bef- but we'll probably make another video talking about some ideas we have for the channel. But needless to say, we haven't finished the Shibuya Incident arc for Jujutsu Kaisen. So I
we have
figured we
not.
should start the year off by jumping back in, catching up, and then, well, we'll just go wherever the winds take us after that.
Exactly.
Um, so we got episodes. Let me make sure I got it right. I believe it is 18 and 19 of the Shibuya Incident arc. Um, since these episodes are quite close together, I think we're probably just going to talk about them as if they were just one big episode.
Yeah, it's just
That'd be
because of
the
the elements that were involved in both videos. It
Yeah,
just kind of makes more sense to
yeah.
put it as one big episode and talk about the really cool highlights that we come across.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um,
so that being
guess
said,
we'll start it off with one thing I always liked about this arc, and I like that Mappa has done for the animation of this arc is really sort of depicting Yuji's like guilt over the whole being the vessel of Sukuna. And
yeah,
you get it reflected so well in like the beginning of this episode where it's just quiet
it like
and he's
nothing but white noise in the
it's
background of him contemplating
yeah.
everything anybody has said to him
hmm
up to this point.
Yeah.
And it's shit like, hey, are you gonna blame your grandfather when you die too? Are you going
Yeah.
to you're going
It's
to
like
when you die, it's gonna cause thousands of lives to be like it's
uh-huh.
like all of these
It's a
things.
whole bunch of shit. All while it's all punctuated by Sukuna telling him it's all his fault.
Exactly.
And it's such a good it's like just nothing's quiet, just nothing but that and just his fucking footsteps
Like
echoing. Especially when he gets into the subway, you just hear the echo of his footsteps.
they really hit the
And it's
tone
so
like they did. It hit hard and it hit
and then
deep,
you
man. Like
you have that like juxtaposed with Nanami doing a very similar walk.
oh
Um
man, it just
Dude,
transitioned from him to
so
Nanami.
I think that's one thing me
Oh.
and Red definitely want to talk about is how this the Appa basically took what was already a really good foundation with the source material, and man, they fucking just expanded upon it.
Dude, they hit
Especially
this
with
topic.
Nanami,
Yeah.
because from what I remember in the manga, Nanami it's just Nanami gets torched, Nanami dies. That's the last you see of Nanami ever.
Right, yeah. Like that's it. Like it shows like a one panel of him walking like half burnt
Yeah,
and then it just moves on to Yuji losing his shit and just chasing down to find Mahito.
yeah, and
So
then
the fact that they just like you said expanded
yeah,
upon a very short panel into
yeah.
this like
And
really
it
gut wrenching like moment.
it gave it the time it needs, and it kind of helps motivate Yuji even more, than makes what happens later just that much more tragic.
Exactly. A
Um,
plus on
and
Mappa,
A
man.
plus on Mappa. Mappa's been
Yes.
doing really good. I can't imagine any other studio doing this anime.
Dude, I'm okay. You see the animation for this, right? I can't wait to see season two of Chainsaw Man. It's
Yeah.
going to be nuts. Like
Yep. Well,
seeing
first we got
this
the
and seeing the upgraded versions of their
yeah
animation within this anime
yeah.
itself. I can't wait. Oh, I can't
hmm
wait.
Um, but speaking of that, I'm definitely interested in whenever the movie comes out, adapting the arc after the first season.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, that back sort of on track. I really like Nanami's final brawl here. You really get like the feeling that he is like hanging on just a small thread of life, and he is like giving it his all, fighting through this horde of transfigured humans.
I think
And
at this point, like I see where you're going with it.
yeah,
But like what the way I took it personally, and you could take it like multiple different
yeah,
ways, but the way I took it was that he within himself was in a different place.
yeah,
Up until the point that Mahito reached him, he was in this
hmm
like his own plane of existence for just
oh
a
yeah,
short while, like living his fantasy, which was
hmm
to go on a vacation and to do nothing but read his books that he'd
yeah,
stacked up over the years.
hmm
Which I
and then
found so relatable.
yeah, that's great. That's definitely great, and I like that aspect as well. So, because as he's fighting, like it cuts back forth between him on the beach, and it kind of mirrors what's going on. So like whenever he starts getting bloody, like it shows just like water splashing on his face and
Oh,
whatnot. So it's
dude.
like a really good way of like showing where Nanami sort of is and how he's just sort of while he is in basically almost like the throes of death, he is just like you can tell like the amount of effort it's taking for each swing against the transfigured humans. Like he is struggling super hard.
Yeah,
And it's such a great
it's
fight, especially when
such
he
like a
starts
good
getting.
transition back and
Hmm
forth between because he's literally acting upon instinct right now.
Yeah.
It's like watching somebody after a really tragic incident.
hmm
Like, I don't know if everybody's ever heard about that mom who lifted up her car to save her kids.
Yeah.
It was just that fight or flight response that your body just puts yourself in. But he himself
hmm
was not there, which is I
Um.
found, so phenomenal. Like the
Oh.
whole scene was really really well.
I also wanted to mention I did like also during Nanami's walk before he starts fighting the transfigured humans. You just see Mahito just vibing in a photo booth, all
Yeah,
fucking.
he was just like bent up.
It's been
Like,
up. He's like it's like say like in that one bit in like Attack on Titan where it's like Bertolt's weird sleeping positions.
yeah,
It's like that.
definitely.
He's just like sort of in that position where like he's just all folded over like the weird sack of meat he
Yeah, he
is.
just weird. Like
Just
Mahito is just a free spirit.
he's yeah.
You could
Um
call him a free soul if
I mean if you
if you wanted to.
if you could say that, you definitely could say that. Um so
um,
we continue on. And this is where it starts getting real good, where we get into all this shit's going on. Now all of a sudden, Nanami feels like a hand on his back, and he knows what it is
by the way,
on
up
his
to this
chest.
point, like the orchestral music,
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The fucking music as
yeah,
well.
that music really hit. Like while he was
Um,
fighting.
it's like no
Um,
epic battle music.
no, it was just this really
No,
somber piano, like orchestral
not even
music.
like something that sounds overtly emotional or sad. It's just this really peaceful
Yeah, like this
and calming
uplifting, like
piano.
relaxing music. And
Hmm
I found that to be so I'm not gonna say misplaced, but like it was weird for the scene.
Yeah.
Um it
Well,
was
it's
it
meant to
was
sort
great.
of,
It fit.
yeah,
Don't let me like let
yeah.
my
Well,
mouth run, but
it's meant
like
to sort of feel off as it's being used as like juxtaposition.
I'm saying like the
Um,
experimentation with the music for this scene, it
I
really
don't think it
hit.
was experimentation. I think it was entirely intentional.
Well, you know
It's
what I
the
mean, but
it's
like
again like I
compared to
said,
what
it's
they usually do for those types of scenes,
yeah,
this was an experimentation. Whether they intended it or not is what I'm saying. Like they experimented with a different type of music.
uh,
Because you
yeah,
don't get
not really.
this.
I mean, they used it. They used a similar piece, and when Gojo was having his moment of clarity.
Yeah, but not death. Like it's like a
I guess, but even then, like I said, it's meant as like it's intended for there to be a contrast in
it's meant to be
tones.
like it's meant to be put in a reflective tone.
Mhm.
Um, which is great because I love every bit of it. It really fit the scene, but
mhm,
it was different. It was
yeah.
different, which is what I like about Jujutsu Kaisen. They're not afraid to like
Um,
swim around in the, I guess you could say like the unknown to anime. Like
sorta.
they kind of dip into like the music that they use, the animation styles that are covered, like
Mhm.
just they really dip into that really cool, what I would prefer or what I would call experimentation, because
Mhm.
a lot of animes don't do what they do. So I like it. It's just something that I wanted to bring up. So
Um, I guess that means now we oughta hop into the fucking absolute like animation um jizz fest that is
oh
Yuji and Mahito. Yeah, we were already looking forward to the Mahito fight, but the shit they added to the beginning of it
oh man.
is like really good. And that's the thing I also want to talk about as well. After having watched the anime, it's gonna be really hard to go back to the manga for Jujutsu Kaisen
Yeah, because the
with
anime for
how
once really expanded well.
they they
Um,
do what I find is always a good for anime adaptations is yes, they make it's accurate to source material, but you take it just a little step further and do things to elevate it from the source material.
I
Because
would have
otherwise,
to.
if you just do a straight adaptation of the manga, well, what's stopping you from reading the manga other than it's like animated a little? Like that was sort of like the gripe I had with say like another method production with say like Hell's Paradise was like it was a good it was good a good adaptation as in it didn't stray too far from the manga, but because it didn't stray too far from the manga or do things to elevate it, it was just kind of a adaptation when the manga
I
itself
will agree with you there because, like, whenever
when
they
the
did
source
the,
itself is
mhm.
much better and more realized.
Yeah, like you could do more with the scene than the manga did because
Yeah.
um, it's easy to animate fights, or excuse me, let me
Mhm.
rephrase. It's not easy to animate fights, but it's it's
It's
easier done. Like it's shown better. There we go.
yeah. It's like
It's shown better in an animation rather
mhm.
than a drawing
Yeah.
representation.
Like you can it's easy just say, all right, we're just gonna take the panels of the fight and that be it.
Yeah,
But it's an even finer line, but it's more rewarding for people that are watching if you're able to not only make anime only scenes, but make scenes that feel like they add to the source rather than take away from it.
yeah,
And all the stuff that that Mappa has added for Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel has very much been added for like the better.
yeah. They beefed it up in an
Yeah.
extremely good way,
Uh,
phenomenal
for,
way.
for
Like,
example, the fight we're about to talk about with
oh
fucking
man, poor
Mahito and
Nanami,
Yuji.
man. Oh my
Yeah, dude.
god,
Um,
dude, Yuji went
bitch.
fucking
Yeah.
ham on his.
So I
The
brought it up. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. The way that they did it in the manga, it was in one single hallway, and it wasn't a lot of craziness. You know, like it was a
Yeah.
lot of
The
like back and
crazy
forth
stuff.
showing
The
off a
crazy
few of their
stuff came in
abilities.
like the second phase of the
Yeah,
fight,
yeah,
not like the beginning
exactly.
of it.
But in the animation
But
or the
here,
anime,
it
oh,
starts off at a fucking 10.
dude, it
It is.
throttles the tin, dude. Like
It,
it's sitting there choking the tin and
yeah,
making
dude.
it turn into an
Um,
11. It's
and
like,
this does another thing I feel like is a great plus for the anime is a lot of Yuji's fights here are in a lot of these cramped, small, claustrophobic spaces.
exactly like the
Um,
bathroom scene,
like the bathroom fight with Choso.
dude.
Um, fucking and
Um,
here with Mahito, where you got his giant, as you put it, the Alaskan bullworm,
the
and
Alaskan
it's like
bullworm.
it's like closing. It's like this like wall of just like meat and flesh, just like closing in as they're like fighting and like barely like I'd say like barely even a foot of like width.
Yeah.
Like they're like pressed against the wall as they're fighting, and it's like fucking insane.
Man, like this little narrow hallway that they're just gradually like scooting closer to each other. Man, and then you just get that instantaneous like disappearance of Yuji, and he just appears above Mahito and just kicks him right in the fucking face, and then just uses just raw fucking strength and punches the wall to expand it, and you're just getting all these really cramped up like fight scenes.
Blade coming out of the Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah, at this point it's just like the flesh wall. I would say something that would be in a Silent Hill video game.
Actually, no, kind of. Or yeah, straight up, just fucking the wall of flesh from Terraria.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that. But I don't know why I went Silent Hill, but like, it seems like
Silent Hill has its fair share of flesh walls.
Yeah, weird shit. Like it goes into some weird shit.
But you got that. Then you got the different various uses Mahito has for using his like idol transfiguration shit.
Oh man.
Such as whenever like you got these like two guys that Mahito turns a corner, all of a sudden there's just two guys there. It's like, yo man, what's up? Dude, there's like dangerous shit down here. A kid shouldn't be here. And just as Yuji, good natured self goes, you guys need to get out of here.
First of all, fuck you. Yuji's not that dumb. I think he would have saw right through that shit.
No, you gotta think he is extremely good-hearted. If he can save a person,
I get it.
He's still in save people mode.
I can maybe accept the fact that he was in shock, but there's no way that Yuji saw two people out of this entire abandoned subway after seeing the shit that he'd seen so far and said, you know what? Those two guys look cool. Like, perfectly safe. Maybe I can get behind the shock factor. Yes. Because he just saw Nanami just fucking explode from the waist up. I could get that.
Again, you guys
think the only way I could
going
accept
through his mind, he's thinking of only one thing, that is making sure he can save as many people. Because like at this point, like he is being met with failure after failure, and his entire worldview that he had throughout the entire series is like crumbling around him.
I get it.
So he's desperately trying his best to save people.
I get the angle they went with. I get the angle they went with, and I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's that stupid.
But you got fucking this like brutal shit, like Mahito like grabbing a dude by the throat and just like making a sword produce from the dude's mouth, and like the rest of his body just shrivels up like those damn marijuana ads.
His tongue turned into the blade. His face was the hilt, and his neck was the handle.
Yeah.
And he just stretched it out, dude. It's like watching a fucking Looney Tune cartoon, like some dude picking a dude up, or like the Alice in Wonderland bit where she like grabs the flamingo and just stretches it out from the feet up. That's just what I fucking...
I also quite enjoyed the bit of whenever Mahito and Yuji both burst out of the Alaskan bullworm together. It's like in slow-mo and all that. You got Mahito fucking taunting Yuji by having a little hand puppet of Junpei.
Oh, dude, that was hilarious.
Dude, yeah. I like how they're...
Just grow up, bitch. Like, that's basically what he said.
Part of me was thinking he was gonna hit because like at that point like Yuji's like, how can you just go about killing people like that without feeling anything? I was half expecting Mahito to like ask Yuji how, if he remembers every slice of bread he ate every day.
Oh, dude, yeah, and he's like, you know what?
Like some shit.
I'll start regretting my decisions starting with the next guy.
Yeah, I'll keep count.
I'll count it up on my fingers. And the funny fact that Mahito could just add extra fingers to his hand.
Yeah, man.
I could just see that, him having a gigantic ass like billboard of a hand.
It's like one of those like Buddha statues where it's like a full hand.
I could just see it in my brain. It's just that just added the like in my brain. That's where I went with it, and it added to the funny to me. The like bit where they're in the fucking elevator.
Dude.
This fucked with my brain a little bit. You might could like share the same thought process. He was in the elevator. Okay, the elevator. Mahito rushes into the elevator and then expands into this fucking weird, another worm-looking creature with a man face. Okay,
Yeah.
and Yuji bursts out of the top, grabs the cords by the top, right? And here comes Mahito coming straight up. It did not show the scene. Excuse me. It did not show the scene where Yuji gets out of the elevator. So Yuji, in the next fucking frame over, is just standing outside the elevator.
Yeah.
One of the
I need to
little,
go. I feel like it might have been like a thing where it's like a blink and you miss it thing.
yeah, that's what I was thinking
Maybe.
too. But like, it just fucked with my brain. That's like, I don't know. That's just one of the. I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm just saying there's little tidbits that fuck with my brain.
There's this one bit where it's too fast. 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. You suck. Episode
Mappa
ruined. Immersion's gone.
Mappa ruined the manga.
Fuck you, Mappa. You went from being a throttled 11 to fucking 0. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Enjoy that
Enjoy
number.
that, you
fucking donut.
fucking Muppet.
You idiot sandwich.
Damn, we go into fucking Gordon Ramsay shit. I'm trying to think what else about this fight that stuck out to me. Oh yeah, fucking Mahito's he had a fucking a Mega Man arm cannon.
Oh, dude, yeah.
For a bit where he's shooting out fucking souls.
Dude, that fucking parry counter that Yuji did with that fucking face, the soul.
Yeah, he just punches it back.
He just you know what? Fuck you. It's like watching tennis with it. It was just it's just.
I also gotta commend that one bit where Yuji just grabs Mahito, just slams him into a pillar.
Oh yes.
It's fucking.
He just fucking slams him, and then I love the one thing I love about Jujutsu Kaisen is that it shows the brutality on both fucking sides. It really shows the destruction and the risk that's being taken from both sides. And I'm pretty sure I've went on this rant before, but you watch hero stuff, right? Yeah, they get hurt. Yeah, they go through things, but overall, the most damage being done is by the hero, right? Like My Hero Academia or Naruto or
even just your regular superhero stuff with Marvel and DC.
Yeah, stuff like that. But with this, you're seeing the blood and the sorrow and the risk that they're taking with each fucking moment that they are fighting. And they have to they show the thinking process of the person or the people that are fighting in this scenario. Yes, they're taking moments where they're thinking, but at the very moment that they're thinking, they're also moving frames. They're not standing still in one spot at a standstill, thinking oh, maybe I should do this, or oh, maybe he's thinking like this. No, they're in motion.
Yeah, they're
narrating their thoughts.
There's no stopping or thinking. They're just fighting. And
that is why Jujutsu Kaisen will always be and will stay as my number one.
Yeah, it doesn't really. That's also something I liked from say stuff like Chainsaw Man, where there's not really any of the whole the thought, the thinking in mid.
No, it's just fucking action.
It's just go at it.
There might be stuff more animes do this, and man, it's so nice. It's such a good, look. And I hope that animes continue to do this because it shows the reality of the situation. Yeah, we're not supposed to put logic into it because they're doing all these super inhuman shit, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, put that to the side and actually think about a fighting moment, and put it into a scenario. When you're fighting someone, you're having to think on a split-second decision, regardless if you have superpowers or not, and I love the fact that they actually implement that. So just putting that on.
It's the thinking mid-fight is a bit more excusable in a series where the fights are basically a battle of wits almost.
I could accept it in Death Note.
So Death Note or
only Death Note.
Whatever. I accept it somewhat, and I know you're not much of a fan of it, but in stuff say JoJo, because that's just kind of the whole. This is the whole vibe of it is it's there's a problem, got to try to figure it out somehow.
And I'm gonna hit a nerve here. Yes, we do plan on doing JoJo at some point. Yeah, we did do that, but at the same time, it's Oh man, I just can't stand the animation style. I can't stand the fucking dialogue that's
You're
implemented with the
saying that, but
characters.
then we're gonna get
I've seen
to a certain.
bits, man.
You're gonna get to a
I
certain point
I've
where
seen
you're
a
gonna be like,
lot though. Like it's
we're gonna
not
be like,
like
you know what?
I just can't get into it. It's just one of the fucking animes where like I'm gonna like dreadfully watch it. And maybe I'll get into it. You know, maybe if I really dedicated to it, maybe I would get into it. The problem is that it's so hard for me to get into it. And
Um,
it's the first anime I've ever had trouble watching. And don't get me wrong, like we went through some like really slow animes, like Tanya the Saga of Evil. It's really slow. You really have to dedicate yourself to watch it.
mm.
Castlevania, like we still haven't finished that one, but we're getting
Well,
off
that one,
topic. We're getting
well, that
off
one we have,
subject.
yeah. Well, that one
um,
we just haven't got around to getting back to, unfortunately. I
but
want to get back to it at some point.
back to the
Cover it on the
topic at
show.
hand, you're
But
just like you could
anyways,
excuse
but
it
with
for like
this,
said anime. I
yeah,
can't. I can't do that because honestly, like, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Dragon Ball person. I love Dragon Ball, but like that shit's just like they're standing there for 30 minutes either
yeah.
screaming or thinking, and it's just like just do it. Like it looks cool when you do the
Well, that's
fight.
that's a problem with the Dragon Ball anime. The manga is
Well, it's not
very
just a Dragon Ball
much.
anime. You got My Hero Academia. You got Dragon Ball.
Well,
You
no, no,
got
no, no, no. What I'm saying is that for Dragon Ball's case, it's a anime specific thing. As
even one of
is
my favorites. You got
covered in the
Fairy
manga.
Tail, Tokyo
But
Ghoul. You got like all these fucking
but
animes that just are put on hold. Like even sports anime. There's no thinking in sports. Like excuse me. There's thinking at hand, like instantaneous thinking. And I would like to see a sports anime that does the same thing that Jujutsu
yeah.
Kaisen is doing with their fighting scenes. Uh,
You see, what you see. The thing is, they approach most sports anime as if the sport is like a game of chess.
to be fair, most sport games are a really like you really have to be strategic with most sports. Like if you really want to
Mhm.
get good at it, maybe not volleyball. Well, I might be hitting some nerves there too, but like
Well, it's
I
like there
guess
are
I don't
tactics, but those
understand
are
it
usually
more.
done in like during timeouts and stuff, not actively in the middle of the
Yeah,
of
like they're
the
like midair,
bout.
stopping the whole scene, just like
Yeah,
this is my moment. I'm
yeah.
gonna shine, dude. I'm gonna slam this ball. And don't get me wrong, I love Haikyuu. I've
But
watched
then,
like all three
but then,
seasons so far.
yeah,
And but like the act of it, that's just one thing about animes that just kind of hit my, what the
yeah.
fuck button. It's like
Um, but
back
anyways,
to our subject. Sorry.
back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I said gravity. I meant to say.
I guess at this point we might as well go ahead and switch on over to Nobara because she's also fighting Mahito. It's like, oh
Yeah,
shit, what's going
but
on?
the double version of Mahito.
It's his shadow clone.
And Mahito thinks he's just the most clever person in the world,
Uh-huh.
and then he gets
Yeah.
humbled fast.
Yeah, dude.
Like, that is the
I
fastest I've ever seen a fucking enemy get humbled with himself.
I always I always love watching Nobara shit go off. Like in the manga, it looks cool. In the anime, it looks even cooler.
But
But then they
it's
just
it's
add all
like
this shit, like her doing drop kicks.
yeah, it's just
What?
like watching Sakura doing that cool shit in that one episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you mean the one arc where she that you're talking about in the beginning arc of Shippuden, where she has like the one
yeah.
moment where she actually gets to use her cool punching powers.
Yeah, she finally gets to use her super strength. Like that's
And then
it.
she never uses it again
Ever
because
again, bro.
the guy who
But
made
it's just like
Naruto was like,
Nobara. At least
nah,
Nobara.
Naruto. No, we need to focus on Naruto. Fuck Sakura.
Yeah, it's just like at least Nobara got some,
Yeah.
relative scenes like to show off. Like, and I love the fact that Mahito even said he's like, oh, he's not just my only natural enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
That's the
off,
other
bro.
sort of gripe. Not to go on another tangent, but that's another gripe I have with anime. Is like you get the girl character has a really cool power, but then she only uses it like once, and it's just never really used in in a meaningful way again.
Yeah, yeah.
Unlike Nobara, at least like Nobara, she has a good presence all up until well we'll get to get to.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll
But
get there.
let's get into the
But yeah,
highlights of the fight, especially the one where she hits the fucking sign above him. Mahito just like, you missed. And then he just, like, the sign falls and he's like, you missed again. And she just, like, drop kicks the fucking sign into his face and then extends the nails into his fucking body. And it's just like, oh shit, she just stapled a fucking sign into this man. Like,
I like that. I like how she her resonance like causes pain to the main Mahito body while he's fighting you.
bro, I'm gonna hit you with some Master Oogway shit. You ready?
Yeah.
Mahito, the roof.
Yeah, dude.
The sign, the tile.
Hell yeah.
Together, they make balance.
Hell yeah. This is fucking great.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm so glad we got back into the pod.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm glad to be back in the saddle. But
oh man.
So Mahito, he goes. Eventually after a certain point, Mahito fucking bolts.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, fuck this, sorry.
Fucking Nobara.
But it was after the resonance move, though. That was
after
the
resonance, yeah.
That was the cool benchmark.
Yeah, that shit was fucking nuts.
That shit was pretty fucking cool.
Another thing I really like that I want to mention is that, you know, in the start of like the episode where her fight sort of carries on, you really get when you get this added scene of her going back into the veil.
Yeah.
And you see just the destruction of Shibuya after Sukuna.
Oh yeah, like whenever she breaks away.
I think that was like one of the few like complaints I had with the manga, because with the manga you don't really get a good sense of like scope.
I would have loved to seen a double page panel of the destruction cost.
The destruction, yeah.
Which I get it, you know, like you have to cut costs somewhere.
It's like for time and whatnot, but it would have been nice to see.
Luckily, our boys over at MAPPA got our backs.
Covered.
Dude, I love MAPPA so much, and I'm sure like everybody's on the MAPPA dick, but like I don't know. It's like
I've been on it since fucking like I'd say since they did Kakegurui. Like that's how long I've been on the fucking MAPPA train.
Dude, MAPPA used like even when they didn't have like impressive like all this animation and shit, like they always hit though, because like it like the shit that they've done is actually like incredible.
Yeah.
Like just like the way they like implement the story, the way they implement the characters, and like they really do manga justice when they animate and then they just like got this all these new fucking animators and shit. Yeah. Whether they pay them enough or not is besides the point. It does look fucking fresh as shit. And the animators, gotta give them a fucking round of applause. They work their asses off for probably not enough fucking money and kill themselves to pump out these just absolutely godlike animations. And you know, I just want to take a second and just you know, give them a round of fucking applause because they fucking deserve it. Man, you can see every blood, sweat, and tear from their fucking fingers
animators
into this shit, man.
Yeah, man.
So good job, animators. Like, we are always on your side.
But it's like most of like that's what I like about like MAPPA shit. It's like a good chunk of it's like really really high quality. Like I said, you can see it's like Kakegurui, their 2019 adaptation of Dororo, which I'd very much would like to get into at some point. That was like a really fucking good anime.
You said like
Dororo, that's the one with like the prosthetic samurai guy.
Yeah, you watched like an episode of that. You showed it to me when we were in fucking college.
Yeah.
That's
you've been going through Attack on Titan. They're the ones that are in charge of animating the final season that you're on, and you've probably seen that it looks pretty good. They
MAPPA did the final season of Attack on Titan? I did not fucking know that.
There's a studio switch. If you notice if it looked a little different, that's why.
It did, and I just thought because like the studio got better. Yeah. Because I know there was like a huge gap
Mhm.
with season, like the final season. So
Yeah,
like I
no,
just
it
thought,
got transferred to MAPPA because the studio that worked on Attack on Titan began working with fuck was it? I think Clover on Spy Family.
oh, well, interesting. See, this
Yeah.
is why they call you. This is why I call you the elder
Or like
reader.
they branched off to start working on that, and then they couldn't handle Attack on Titan, so they transferred it to MAPPA.
I'm here for the fights. You're here for the facts, baby. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, let's get back on track. We keep getting off of these
It's
like
back
little
on track.
tangents.
It's just been a
Um,
while.
it has, and
It's
I'm
been a
really
hot
enjoying
minute.
this, and I hope you
Uh
guys
huh.
are too.
Um,
But back into like
but
a somewhat structure that we do have.
so Nobar, she's giving chase to Mahito. Probably shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't have.
Probably
And to
shouldn't.
be honest,
Um,
you should have knew that he was running back to himself because you
uh-huh.
knew it was a double.
Well, no,
And
Nobara did not. As far as she knows,
she
she's
knew
one
it
of
was a
the
double. She
she.
even like said, "You must be some kind of." She even told him like, "Oh, you can't do all this, so you must be some kind of double," in the fight. So yeah, she knew
I
he
guess I
was a
didn't catch
double.
it. I thought it
And
was Yuji that pointed out
no,
it
no, no,
was
no,
a.
no. She like
Okay.
was mid fight, and after she did the resonance, that's why she did
Yeah.
resonance so that it would go back to his original form and do the damage.
Yeah.
So Nobara knew, and she pieced it together and said, "Oh, you're a double."
Hmm.
So the fact that she ran after a double, probably knowing where the fuck he was going,
Yeah.
was kind of a dumb
Man,
move. Which
and
comes back
I
into the dumb female
no,
protagonist.
well,
Like,
with her thing, she's like, I can't let this thing like carry on or rejoin. I need to try to kill it as quickly as I can.
yeah, but
And
then
it's just that
she knew she wasn't gonna
was
keep up with that guy. I mean,
unfortunately she was too slow.
and unfortunately, Mahito was too close.
Uh-huh. So that's the
Man,
other thing. I feel so bad for anime only watchers because you get this whole bit where first of all, you get Mahito killing Nanami.
yeah.
And you get that whole fight where it's like building up, it's like, okay, like shit's like emotions are already pretty high. But thankfully, throughout most of this fight, and then whenever we get to Nobara, it seems like they're both getting the upper hand on Mahito.
Yeah, and then you know what's happening.
And
Like you
then
know what's going to happen.
and then
Um,
they reunite and you get the slow-mo and then they don't reform but they just basically tag each other out and then Mahito slaps Snowbar's head.
I will
And
say the
then
first time I read this shit blew my mind what they
yeah.
did. Like the fact that they did a switch
They,
up
if I
rather.
remember correctly, they ended the volume off on him hitting her face.
Yeah, they did. They did 100%.
And
And
then you don't know what fucking because they do the whole flashback thing at the beginning of the next volume. So
mhm.
you're just sitting there in like anticipation of what the fuck is that? What's happening? What's
Exactly.
happened? The
Lucky
manga
for
is
me
fucking
that I didn't have to
dirty.
wait that long because
Yeah,
I started reading it later.
I can
But
imagine being a weekly reader.
I couldn't imagine
Ima-
either.
Imagine being like that. I'm caught up with certain series, and it's kind of agonizing. A lot of people tend to trash talk series that are ongoing, but I tend to just give it time because like I know like there's usually the author's building towards something. They
Hmm.
can't really judge it until like the full thing's like out.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't imagine going through this shit and like just biding your time every week, or God forbid the author decides to go on a 2 week break instead of a 1 week break.
Right, man. Like
But
I
I
hate
couldn't
what happened
imagine.
with like I felt the way that it was being described to me, and I'm all respect is being paid due because it's one of my favorite mangas ever at this point.
Uh,
I couldn't imagine the pain of the Berserk readers.
yeah, yeah,
I could not
yeah.
because I started the series on the deluxe edition because I got a really good fucking deal for the deluxe editions for these
Seven,
people that are like
7
spending.
long years were spent on that boat,
I agree, but
and
it wasn't that long for me,
even
baby.
even after that, I thankfully I started it reading it around the time they got off the boat. But then
um,
you start getting to the agony of like chapters being released like one chapter a year, and it's just
dude.
oh
Um,
man.
but
But
given all that, man,
given all that,
like
it's just fucking it's fucking dirty 'cause you think,
I couldn't
oh man,
imagine the pain, like
yeah,
just the anticipation it would take to just sit there and be like,
yeah, man,
"What the fuck?" And then but see, that's the thing. It's to keep you coming. It's to keep you
mm,
coming. which is the same way I did when I picked up the next volume immediately. Was like, I don't have to wait that long, but fuck them for doing that.
You still, it's enough. It's still enough to where you feel it, regardless of what format you're consuming
It's
it
just
in.
like, you know that you could just click on to the next episode, like when you're watching anime, but it's also like, holy shit, why the fuck did they do that? Like, why? Why would you leave me here like that? Let me click. Hurry up.
Yeah. So yeah, but then we get sort of a bit of Nobar's backstory. It does touched on a little bit in the beginning of the series with the arc in the prison, because like everybody got like you get a little snippet of their backstory, but here you see it more full and like played out.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's just a nice little thing. It turns into like a little slice of life anime for just a little bit before it just absolutely soul crushes you.
Yeah. Yeah. But getting back into it, they swapped up, tagged her face. We got the worst fucking backstory tale ever. I hated that. I hated sitting through it. I hated watching it. I hated reading it.
It was paced a little better in the anime.
I don't like it though. I just don't like it. I had no parts about it that I would really like to discuss.
The only thing that was really of note is whenever it cuts to Nobara's friend in the current day working her office job, and she has like that moment you have where like, you know, those people you're like friends with in like childhood, and you like all of a sudden you kind of remember them, and you sort of just wonder where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to fucking Nobara fucking dying.
I do like blasting off, man.
I do like the bit where she's having her little moment of clarity before she dies, where it's like the room with the chairs and shit.
That fucked me up. I will say,
dude. That was really good.
Watching that really hurt. I was like, oh man, they did that in the manga. They did that in the manga, but it didn't hit quite as hard as watching it in the anime. So I will say they did do that part really well, and I will say that it was way better to watch it than it was to read it. But I didn't have anything quite of note to put in there because I don't know. Nobara's not my favorite character, so she has some cool like moments.
Like she was one of like when I started watching, she was like her introduction chapter is what really got me into Jujutsu Kaisen, because I like the idea of like that using the hammer and nails and straw doll and shit.
You might find this actually kind of interesting. My nephew, not Michael, but Zach. I think you know Zach.
No,
I've told you enough. I've told you enough about him.
Little.
You know he's my nephew, but he's actually into Jujutsu Kaisen right now. And it's funny because his favorite character is Izuku. I think that's his name. No, it's not Izuku. I'm a fucking idiot. My bad. Fish Flakes guy. I can't remember his goddamn name.
It's fucking Toge.
Thank you, Toge.
Fucking Toge Inamaki.
That's his favorite fucking character.
That's a lot of people's favorite.
So,
but
while we're on the subject, who's your favorite character so far? I'm quite interested.
I always fucking like Maki. Maki's like my favorite.
Yours is Maki?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially what happens later on.
Yeah, Maki gets some really cool fucking spots, man.
But
I'd have to say mine and is fucking Hanami.
You mean Nanami?
No.
Are you talking about okay.
You know what I'm talking about, the Mother Nature lady.
Yeah, I was just wanting to make sure.
Yeah, Hanami. Fucking
make sure, cause,
love it. Not Nanamine, like Hanami.
Yeah.
She's my favorite. Like, and it's just because of like the things that she actually fights for. It's like watching Thanos, or knowing the reason Thanos did what he did, kind of thing. She's just doing it to preserve nature, and I find that to be more understanding of the cause.
Yeah.
So that she's my favorite character.
But anyways, but that's sort of where it all ends off. I'm sad we're not able to cover the third part where it gets into the fucking the proper meat of the fight, but we'll get to it next week.
That's where you just come on back to hear our thoughts.
Thankfully, but it's great being back
I'm
into
enjoying it.
everything.
I really, really was worried about how rusty we would be, but we really come back and I don't know, we that's I guess that's the thing I really like about doing the podcast, because we're just we bounce off each other really well.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's why I enjoy doing it so much. So it's good to be back. It's really, really good to be back.
Hell yeah.
We share the
Um,
same common interests most of the time when it comes to anime. So I can't wait to really get back on the ball with this, and I can't wait for our viewers to kind of see what we're going to be doing next with our channel.
yeah.
So stay tuned because we got some things coming. We do got some ideas. We've been spitballing with all this time that we've taken off. So we haven't been lazy. We haven't forgot about you guys. So just hang in there.
Yeah. It's just stuff's been busy. But other than that, I guess that's about it really.
Yeah.
It's good to be back and whatnot.
But
Um,
if you ain't got
guess
anything
so.
else to add, Bob
Nah,
Stowe,
I
throw it in
guess
there,
so.
baby.
I'll sign us off. Well, I'm Bob Stowe, the Otoweeb.
And I am Red, the bald-headed wonder.
You just got done watching the
The
Anime
Anime
Boys.
Boys. See
See
ya.
ya.